All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Mainly Celtics. Your boy Emery's here, and we've got Matt Money in the corner, and a special guest today, a good friend of ours, Big Ian Snowdeal. Say what's up to the people.
The Going Mainly Celtics crew. I was originally supposed to be a part of this, and then I kind of backed out.
Yeah, so how do you feel now
Is
with
it?
our massive following and great brand approval?
I kind of feel like I'm going to help you guys out a little bit. So
Yeah,
That
we
is
got a sports movie draft today, along with, of course, just some news from the Celtics. But should be an exciting one, rather quick one, as we hopefully entertain you guys throughout the off season. But so speaking of that news, Emery and Ian, if you guys want to add in, what were your guys' thoughts on the trade that sent Carsen Edwards, Kris Dunn, and a second-round pick to the Memphis Grizzlies for Juancho Hernangomez?
Huncho. I am sort of mixed on it because it certainly fit a need. The Celtics did need wing depth. They needed a shooting big four stretch guy. But looking at some stats from our boy Huncho, he's not that great of a shooter.
No, I was like, hope
That's sort of what he's branded as, though, correct? Like,
I thought I thought that was his thing in, where was he, Denver?
yeah,
I thought he was pretty effective in Denver, but yeah, I looked at stats last year. I think he shot like 32.7% from three, which is not great.
yeah, 32% is bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I just think it's basically gonna be between him, Grant, and I don't know if is Jabari, did his contract get guaranteed? I thought the deadline was like one of these days, but I didn't hear anything about it.
I did not hear a
guarantee his
single
deal?
peep.
Well, either way, it's like probably between him and Grant, just who can be like less of a offensive, just negative. Whoever can be whoever can be a positive, or at least like not terrible offensively, will probably get some minutes in the back of the four, as terrible as that sounds.
Right. Ian, your thoughts?
I think he brings like a different kind of role as Grant Williams does. He's a little bit bigger. He can probably rebound better, but when he's on offense, it's going to be able to space the floor more for Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown to attack the basket. I mean, if you had him and say Al Horford out there as your bigs, you can space the floor five across and be able to attack and isolate. So I feel like he's going to bring something else rather than what Dunn and Edwards have been doing, because our guard depth isn't that deep, but it's deep enough to where we could shift those assets and be able to add in somebody like him to maybe improve his shooting and then kind of just be able to improve the offense in general, because I think the Celtics really do want to space the floor more this year.
Absolutely, and I think that Hernangomez is a different type of Celtics player that we've seen. Like, we haven't seen many players like this on the Celtics. Like, he is a force. I mean, we saw Jay Crowder, but he's not a Jay Crowder type ball player. He's a space the floor, stand in the corner, rebound the ball kind of guy.
He's kind of Jonas Jerebko in a way.
Yeah.
I feel like he can handle the ball a little bit better, but he's not going to be doing that, so it doesn't really matter. But I feel like he can do kind of Jonas Jerebko like things, but that Celtics team's a lot different than the one we have now. So
it certainly is, and that sort of, like, Jerebko played for the Celtics in 2017. Like, we haven't seen that in a handful of seasons, so it's an interesting.
It was much longer ago than that.
And wasn't he on that?
It feels like a decade ago.
Oh,
I think
no.
he was. Just feels like, as I'm saying, just feels like a decade ago.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. And the Celtics haven't really had a piece like this on the offense. So it's interesting.
I think in the grand scheme of things, I don't think he provides that much in any direction. I think he's fine. I mean, like you said, like we say, 32% this season, but for his career is 35, which still isn't good, but it's at least like, I mean, if he's your worst shooter in the court, then that's fine.
Yeah.
It's not great, but
the year before.
Yeah. I was interested to see what Kris Dunn could have brought defensively. It's too bad we didn't get to see him play at all. I was interested to see the defensive metrics when Kris Dunn, Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Al Horford were all combined. Al Horford or Time Lord, all of those guys out on the floor together. You know, was interested to see that dynamic and how they played ball. It would have been ISO basketball on the offensive end, but the defense would have been very strong. And I would put Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum on an ISO scheme over a lot of players in the NBA at this point.
Yeah, I just think honestly though, like with the addition of Schroeder, like I was fine with having Dunn, but it's like how are you gonna play Dunn, Schroeder, Pritchard, Smart, even Richardson plays some point guard. It's a lot of guys that typically play the point guard, and obviously a lot of those guys can play the two. But even then, you have guys at the two guard. You still have like Neesmith and Romeo who play a lot of the two. On top of that, and it's just like where was Dunn really gonna fit? It feels like they weren't really gonna. Neither he or Carsen were really gonna have a role. So it's like might as well. I mean, throwing a second round pick, like I said, like I just personally don't really care about second round picks. So sure, whatever. I think it just kind of fills a little bit of a need. I think hopefully Hernangomez, maybe he can, like Ian said, he was a 42% 3-point shooter the year before. Maybe he can return like even somewhat close to that. If he's shooting 38% from three, that would be definitely a steal for two guys that really weren't going to. Yeah, for a guy that's not going to really provide, for a couple guys that weren't going to provide anything for us.
No. Overall, would you spoke on it a little bit, Matt, but would both of you guys give that a positive or negative grade in the long term?
I'd probably give it like a C+. Like I like the trade, but it wasn't like I was like, this is the greatest move ever. It sucks that like Kyle Anderson wasn't the guy that was coming back. He was another guy from Memphis, the guy that I actually would have wanted. Probably get him for a similar package. That would have been an A-. I mean, he would have had a real significant difference on this team. But I mean, I'm happy with it. Not elated, but happy.
Ian?
Yeah, I think it's a lateral move. You drop two guys that probably weren't going to be in your rotation for a flyer on somebody who may be able to space the floor, like we said, play some defense, and maybe even replace Grant in the scheme of things.
Yeah, a lateral move is a good term for it, but I think the makeup of the Celtics team is much different than what we've seen in the past. So lateral moves are like they're intriguing at least to a degree, because this is a different roster makeup. We're seeing Brad move the wheels a little bit more, and I think that is just bringing a level of intrigue to this upcoming season.
A lot of positional versatility on this team.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, Hernangomez is what, 6'7", 6'8"?
Yeah, and I was just looking at with a 7-foot wingspan. I was looking at his like lineups that he typically plays in. I believe. Where was that? Where did I see that?
He's 6'9".
Saw the play. I believe he was like 70-something% at the. Yeah, 6'9", but he plays. I was saying he's logs about 70% of his minutes. There it is. So last season he had logged 77% of his minutes at the 4, 23% at the 3. The year that Ian was talking about, where he was very effective in Denver and Minnesota, he logged 85% of his minutes at the 4, and then he played 15 minutes as a small ball 5. So maybe that's something we utilize him as well. And maybe that's where he excels, where he just gets better look with centers trying to sag and protect the paint.
Do you have any defensive efficiency numbers?
I do, but also it's like they weren't great. His defensive win shares, he had one really good year for Denver, but since joining the Timberwolves, like his defensive win shares, just with how bad of a defensive team they are, it's really hard to
fair enough.
Really hard to look at that too closely. Yeah. I think he's gonna be a fine defender. I don't think he's gonna be locking anything up, but I don't think he's gonna be a liability by any means.
No, I don't think so as well. So okay. Sad to see Carsen go, though. I had a soft spot in my heart for Carsen Edwards. What do you think, Ian?
I mean, he wasn't going to crack the rotation. I mean, with the addition of Pritchard last year, and then we're adding Schroeder, I didn't really see any minutes for him to get unless it was garbage time or maybe even injuries. But, I mean, he was a great college player. He can score the ball well, so maybe he'll get some opportunity. But for the Celtics team now, I think we addressed a potential need. So I don't feel bad for the situation that we're in now. So I think shipping him away was probably the best we could get right now.
Yeah, I mean, it was bound to happen this year. It was either this year or next. He was either going to ride Pine and sign somewhere else or get traded right now, and that's the latter is what happened. So sad to see him go. Au revoir.
Yeah, I've never was a huge fan of him. But so we have the draft. Is there any more Celtics news you want to talk? Oh, Taco. We can talk about Taco for like a minute or two, but Taco, I believe, signed a non-guaranteed deal with the Chicago Bulls, so he's going to be leaving Boston this year, which is sad to see.
Yeah.
It was Cavs? Okay, my bad. You're right. That's why we have Ian on here. He's the fact checker. He's our intern.
Yeah. Your CEO.
So I bet he's going to have a great game against us one of these times. I bet he's going to have like a game where he grabs like 10 boards or something.
Right, blocks 5 shots.
The Cavaliers have like 8 players above 6'9".
Yeah, it's
cool.
They have like 6 front court guys that are just monstrous on the defensive end, like pretty wild.
Yeah, Mobley's a 7-footer too, right? Jared Allen's like 6'10", Laurie's like 6'10". No, Laurie's 7 feet, isn't he?
Could be.
Is Laurie a 7-footer? He's close. Either way, he's a bit at least like 6'9", 6'10". I know that for
Mobley makes me look small.
Mobley's a big dude. Did you meet him in Springfield?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of meeting those guys, Phil was out of work one day, and that day Taco Fall came into where he was working, and he missed it by like just a couple hours, and it was like the day before he signed with Cleveland. So his last night in Boston. Phil could have been there.
That's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough luck. I don't think there's any other news involving the Celtics, so we can move right into the draft.
We hired our G League coach.
We did. I didn't know his name. I knew that we did, but I was like trying to think. I didn't know what his name was. I didn't want to pull it up right this second. Do you have it off the top of your head?
I do not.
Yeah. I knew we did, but I didn't want to.
Scott Morrison.
Scott Morrison. Okay. I didn't want to mention it because I was like, I don't want to look it up right this second. I definitely don't know it off the top of my head, so I was just gonna ignore it. But so we have a movie draft today. The guidelines of the draft are pretty simple. We're gonna have 4 rounds. It doesn't matter what order you pick them in. But we're gonna have 1 baseball movie, 1 basketball movie, 1 football movie, and 1 wild card. So any other kind of sport movie.
Okay.
So you can double up if you want, if you like really want another baseball movie. But I figured most people would want like some sort of other movie for a wild card. But how do you guys want to decide draft order?
I say we start with the guest, then you and me. I'll snake draft.
Okay, you'll snake draft around. Okay, so Ian, with the first overall pick, who are you taking?
I'll take Coach Carter. It's one of my more favorite sports movies in this basketball podcast, so I thought I'd take that first. I mean, really gets you going. It can hype you up. It's just a fantastic film. There's not too many flaws in it. It still gets referenced today. Yeah. So I feel like it's a great film to pick.
Incredible.
Yeah. What is your biggest fear, Ian?
Samuel Jackson, my bad.
Yeah, dude. You're a little off. Also, I got to correct myself. It's not Scott Morrison. Scott Morrison was the G League coach. It's now Jarrell Christian.
Thank you.
But yeah, I think it's probably one of my more favorite films, and especially for basketball. I can't really think of any others that I like too much other than White Men Can't Jump or Semi-Pro, which maybe you guys take. So it's a great film.
Yeah. All right, Maddie.
I figure. Okay, with my pick, I'm gonna go football because I think football has the standalone like best movie that I've watched out of any of these, and I'm gonna go Remember the Titans.
Yeah.
Obviously a classic movie. Talking about Denzel, I mentioned him last time. He's on my list I think a few times, but obviously he's not in Coach Carter. But no, I mean, that movie's incredible. I'm pretty sure that's just how they teach racism is bad in most schools. They just show it to you when you're in middle school. Just a great football movie, something and just like very, very emotional. It's one of those movies I remember growing up, like when I can't remember the linebacker's name, but when he gets in an accident. Yeah, Bertier, dude, and it's like something that's almost making you tear up right in the middle of class. But just an incredible movie, really emotional, just a really great movie, great soundtrack. Definitely far and away my favorite football movie, and that's what I wanted to make sure I picked it with my number one overall pick, my first pick.
All right, so I'm gonna go. My first pick will be Moneyball, favorite baseball movie, far and away. This may get maybe a little personal, but Moneyball is the only movie to ever make me cry, ever.
Really?
Yep, I did it once. I am a self-proclaimed big don't cry at movies guy, and Moneyball is the only one to ever make me do it. So
made you cry?
I've never finished Moneyball. Like I need to. I know I do, but I always start it now
on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, I mean I could watch it. It's just I just haven't.
We've been referencing it in my class like the last 2 weeks already.
Really?
It's just like a great analytics film.
Yeah, it's super incredible, and just like I think it really encapsulates the like emotion of baseball, the drama, and the like the heart of baseball. I think it does a really good job with that. And my second pick, I'm gonna do my wild card one, but I'm battling between two. One of them's like a legit sports movie, and one of them's not. But I think I'm gonna go legit, and I'll take Miracle. Miracle's my favorite.
Miracle, yeah, it's a solid one. I don't think I've seen that one either, but from what I've heard, very good reviews.
Yeah, another heartwarming tale of one of the greatest sports feats of all time. Like, a very well done movie. Incredible acting, incredible music. The scenes are just great. I mean, another good quotable movie too. Like, why do you love college hockey? You know, like, or why do you play college hockey? Like it's just got great quotes in it. And yeah, so that'll be my second one, my wild card.
Yeah, I'm not a big hockey guy, so I usually stay away from hockey movies for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot believe this movie has gone this far. I want to take my first pick, but I did think it had a chance to slip. And that's probably the greatest sports movie of all time, in my opinion. That's the original Rocky.
Okay.
That's what I'm taking my second round pick.
Yeah.
The ultimate underdog story.
Doesn't do it for me.
No.
Wow. That's just a bad take out of you two. I mean, Rocky's an incredible movie.
More of a Rambo
Once
guy.
Again, great sound. Yeah, well, Rambo's not a goddamn sport movie there.
I know. Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, no, I mean, Sylvester Stallone's awesome in it. It's a great underdog story. It's a great fight. I mean, it's one of the few times where the hero like loses. I think that makes a difference in a story. You know, it's not like the most predictable story in the world. So it's very cool. Obviously, leads up to a great overall series of movies, but the first one I think is easily the best, and that's one I think it's one of the best sports movies of all time.
All right. Interesting take for sure.
I mean, it is a great movie for what it's worth. I mean, it has its own statue in Philadelphia, and it kind of brings a bunch of people together for that sense. I mean, it's an American dream kind of film. So I'll use my wild card then too. I'm gonna go with Talladega Nights, The Ballad of Ricky Bobby.
Oh my god,
that was the one I was battling with.
So, I mean, Will Ferrell, incredible comedic actor. I have a soft spot for comedies. It's my favorite genre of film. I'm a lighthearted guy. I love watching comedies. In that movie, I mean, I'm not a big NASCAR guy, but I feel like that's what everybody's dream is. If they're a NASCAR fan, they want to like just randomly hop in a car and go fast. And I mean, that movie's so quotable, and it's just such a great film. I mean, it really brings out a lot in me, and it's just a very funny film. So to that, it's also referenced a lot by SportsCenter, ESPN. Mm-hmm. So
it's right. Yeah, I mean, that's obviously
Bobby's a all-time classic character.
It's a classic character.
I didn't even think of that though for sports movies. I thought you guys, since we all used our wild cards now, I thought you guys were talking about Happy Gilmore. When you guys mentioned that.
I enjoy Happy Gilmore, but I'm more of a Will Ferrell guy. It was my two miscellaneous films for wild card were Happy Gilmore and Talladega Nights. So I mean, it was one or the other. I picked that. I feel like it's a little more of our time. Maybe a couple like people a little bit older, like 26 to like 30. That's kind of their niche, but for me, it's that. And then for the next one, I'll use my football one. I'll do The Replacements. Keanu Reeves, great film. I used to watch that a lot. I had that on DVD. It was just a film I'd throw on if we had a random snow day or something. I really enjoyed it. I don't know too much about The Replacements in general. I kind of, that's something I probably should read up on, but I feel like that film's just a good film, solid. It's got a little romance in it. It's a complete film, got sports, drama, little comedy. When they take his tires off the car, leave him so he can't go. So I feel like it's a good movie.
Yeah, it's got Keanu Reeves before Keanu was Keanu.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably there's much better football films.
No,
but
that's solid. I had that one as my fourth pick. So I mean, that's like I thought that was really good. I really like The Replacements growing up. Shane Falco.
Yeah.
Back to you, Maddie.
Oh, it's back to me. Okay, so Ian, is that all your picks for today?
No, I have baseball left.
You're the last one.
Okay,
yeah.
word. Right. Okay, word. Right. So we both. Okay. So I've taken my wild card, my basketball. Right. No, I've taken my wild card, my football. Okay. I guess Emery, you've taken your baseball. Okay, so I feel safe now because my baseball one's one. Yeah, so my baseball one's 1 and 2. I felt pretty safe with because I think they're pretty neck and neck. But so that means I'll go with my basketball one. That's He Got Game. It's another one featuring Denzel Washington. Have you guys seen He Got Game?
No. That's Jesus Shuttleworth, right?
Yeah, it's the one with Ray Allen in it. Yeah, that's a wild one. Obviously, Ray Allen he's actually one of the better, I'd say, actors, especially during that time. Better like athlete actors. Rick Fox also in that one. It's a good story. I mean, Denzel, he can pretty much carry most of the movies that he's in because he's just such an incredible actor. But overall, I like He Got Game. I wanted Coach Carter 1, but I think He Got Game's pretty head and shoulders above my 3 and my 4. So.
Okay, my last 2 picks. I'll go with football first. And my pick is We Are Marshall. Super big fan of that movie. Another
crazy story.
Yeah, crazy story. Great acting. Matthew McConaughey, that guy from Lost. I'm a sucker for like the West Virginia coal towns too. I love the way that coal towns are played in movies. And I fuck with
October Sky.
October Sky, exactly. That's the other one I was thinking. Like, I just think that is a really cool dynamic that is like interwoven. I love the like wide angle shots of towns with just like the rundown like junkyards and shit. Like I love a good West Virginia coal mine. Big fan of that movie. One of my favorite, like top 2, 3 maybe football movies for me. And then my last one is basketball. I know that this may be an overhyped pick, but I do like Hoosiers.
That's a really good one.
Yeah, I mean, Hoosiers is like similar to that West Virginia feel. It's like small town Indiana, cornfields. I really like the story. I like what's that kid's name? Jimmy, whatever, the one who hits the shot at the end. Big fan of his sort of arc in there, like when he comes into the town meeting wearing his flannels and his boots and shit. Like, fan of that movie for sure. So those are my
that film's for what it is, it's a great film. I feel like Coach Carter may trump that just because of the emotion it brings up, but Hoosiers is just a great classic underdog story. That's what it is too.
Yeah.
Hoosiers is the one I've watched, but I don't really remember it, so I didn't feel comfortable picking it. I didn't want to use it as a pick. I definitely couldn't speak on it as well as you did. But yeah, definitely a good movie. I think I watched it when I was like 13 or 14. Haven't watched it since, so it definitely deserves a rewatch.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's back to me, right?
Yeah.
I think me and Ian both have baseball. Ian, what are you gonna take with your last pick?
You pick first. I have options.
I know, but I was gonna let you take
that bitch like Stockton.
Okay, then I'm gonna take Major League then. I was gonna take Bull Durham if you were planning to take Major League, but now that you said
I got other films.
yeah, so I'm gonna go with Major League. Obviously, just like a classic, like just baseball comedy. It's got some like interwoven like dramatic parts of it. Charlie Sheen's great in it. I'm trying to think of the manager's name, the actual actor that plays him, but he's awesome throughout. Once again, a nice underdog story. They have a lot of just very unique, interesting characters. They don't really go by very many just like classic sports movie tropes. Like they're all very unique and they're very interesting. Like you got Serrano, you got I can't think of the Asian guy, but he's really funny too. You got Willie Mays Hayes. You just got a lot of really, really great characters. You get the veteran catcher too, and it's just a really great movie with a lot of kind of like interwoven parts and a lot of different kind of mini storylines thrown in there throughout.
Cool movie.
Number one bus movie for all of our. I don't know about you, Emery, but we would always watch it on the bus.
Oh yeah,
traveling places.
We didn't watch strictly baseball movies on the bus. We had an eclectic taste.
Well, you went to Colby, so.
Yeah, I went to Colby, so.
He went to a cultured school.
I did, yeah.
So I guess to round it out, I'll go Sandlot.
I was
solid.
Hoping someone picked it.
I mean,
that was my number 3.
Thinking of baseball movies, I could have gone that. Rookie of the Year. There's not too many baseball movies I enjoy, but I feel like Major League. I think we picked the 3 that I enjoy the most. So, Sandlot. I mean, it's got Benny Rodriguez. It's got Squints. It's got Ham. It's got everything. It's got characters all around. I feel like it encompasses like a friend group in general. Yeah. Like the diversity of a friend group. I feel like it also encompasses like what baseball means to kids. It's just a fun game to play. You go out there and you're just having fun with your friends and you connect with so many different people. Mm-hmm. And it's a solid movie. It has its moments where like I'm laughing, I'm having a good time watching it. I haven't seen it in a few years, but I feel like The Sandlot's just another classic sports movie. So round it out with that.
Absolutely.
I was glad. Solid pick. Yeah, I had that on my list too.
I mean, you're killing me, Smalls.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, very quotable movie as well. Mm-hmm. So just to so that's our whole draft. Do you guys have some like honorable mentions you guys want to throw out there? I mean, I had for baseball, I had Bull Durham in 42. Obviously, I had to show some respect to Chadwick Boseman. Basketball, I had semi-pro and Space Jam, like the original one, of course. Football, I still had Any Given Sunday and The Water Boy. And for my wild cards, I had Creed, Dodgeball, and Happy Gilmore.
Yeah, the ones that I didn't, I was hoping that I could squeeze in the Mighty Ducks movies. Those are some of my favorites. Semi-pro is great. Waterboy would have been a good football one. We didn't touch on Friday Night Lights. That got left off.
I've never watched the movie. I just watched the show. Yeah, Longest Yard.
Either of them.
I thought about that.
Or Adam Sandler.
One of my basketball ones was Like Mike, another classic 2000s movie. Big fan of that movie.
Caddyshack.
Caddyshack was a good one. Once again, like I've seen parts of it. Don't really remember the whole thing, so I didn't want to pick it.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, movies are so subjective. It's like music, but I feel like we got a great list here. I mean, there's so many honorable mentions, so many sports movies. I mean, it's so many different options, but I feel like we hit on some of the better ones.
No, I feel like there was no bad picks. I feel like all of them were solid. Some of the ones that might not be like critically acclaimed were like ones that are just, I mean, they're classic quotable movies. If movies can be just so easy quotable and everyone knows what you're talking about, they obviously got to have some sort of, they got to be good. They got to stand on their own in some way.
A film's great if it evokes emotion.
No doubt.
Yeah. Okay, well, that is our draft. We will see you guys next week. Ian, do you want to pick the song for us this week as our guest?
Pick a song. Yeah, pick a song.
Pick a song, any song. Pick an outro.
I'm going to pick Come to Life by Kanye West.
Thank you. I was hoping you would pick Donda Chant, but.
No, I'm not picking Donda Chant. That's what makes that album just a tier below what it should have been.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I get it. That was just mother's heartbeat. So
That's been disproven.